Where time now is 20 minutes away from 9. Well, a review of the regulatory gaps and the new media issues paper out from the Law Commission is out now for discussion, and they're discussing it up at publicaddress.net. From Public Address, it's Russell Brown this morning. Morning, Russell.
Good morning.
Yes, let's talk about this this review done by the Law Commission. What's going on?
Well, the review was actually, it's an issues paper. It was published late last year, and there's been some discussion of it already. I talked to John Burrows, the head of the Law Commission, on Media 7. But they're keen, and I think this is really admirable, they're keen to have it discussed as broadly as possible by the people who it will affect.
Huh.
The idea is basically to look at media regulation and ask whether it needs to be updated for the internet age. And the first part of that is basically saying, well, what is this thing called the news media, and who are they?
Yeah, good question.
And does that mean a different thing now that anyone's a publisher?
Yeah.
And so the first of a series of posts from the Law Commission explaining their view in the issues paper has just gone up on Public Address. It will form part of the formal consultation process, which I think is the first time the Commission has done it via a third-party site like us.
Well, kind of fitting as well, really, isn't it?
Yeah, we're a very discursive site. People discuss things on our site.
Yeah, but also being the new media and possibly a news site. Would you class Public Address as a news site?
No, although we certainly play some of the roles of the news media. I think some of us more than others. I think Keating's critiques of the way other media organisations handle numbers is a really good example.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and I guess sometimes I would come under something that was recognisably news media in the blog. Other times I'm writing about going to New Order on Monday night or something like that. But I do think that we come under the definition offered in the issues paper, and in fact I would be quite keen to make myself accountable to the voluntary regulator that is proposed in the paper.
So you make yourself accountable, but what do you get back in return?
I guess respectability, and also I think it's a show of goodwill.
But don't you also get access to certain information that you wouldn't otherwise?
Yes, yeah, and that may become relevant, probably not so much for me, but for some of the other bloggers, things like access to court. Right. There are certain privileges available to organisations who are defined as being part of the news media that aren't available to just anyone who walks in off the street. And in return for those privileges, you submit yourself to a degree of accountability, which doesn't particularly worry me, because I think we pretty much keep within those lines anyway on Public Address. I do think that certain bloggers who have been saying, we like the idea of this and we would be accountable to it, haven't really thought it through, because they do things that I think would actually get them in trouble. So
a site like Whale Oil, perhaps?
Yeah. And Whale Oil's been saying, this is what I want to do. He attempted to join the Press Council last year, which in one way is good. It's nice that he wants to sort of come in from the cold, but I don't think he's necessarily grasped what that would mean. Because I think he writes things that are sometimes defamatory, frankly. But and they go to some lengths in the both in the paper and in the post that's up today to basically to explain what the difference is between something that could be considered news media and something that's just polemic, which is fine. Anyone can say what they want. Within limits on the internet, and it doesn't have to be news media. But some of us are clearly doing something that is closer to the traditional role of news media in providing facts, holding power to account. Like I said, I think it's actually a really admirable thing that they're looking to broaden the discussion in this way.
Okay, we'll look at that discussion and get involved up at publicaddress.net. The Media 7 show this week looks at the Greek crisis.
Okay, so I had to, put up a Law Commission post, and yesterday I talked to some brain scientists, and also I wrote a blog post on the Greek debt crisis.
Golly.
My God, this is complicated.
Yeah.
And the angle we're taking in the show this week, and we've got a public address reader, he's also very accomplished in his own right, Giovanni Tiso, wrote a really interesting essay for an Australian journal, making the case that the narrative that we're very familiar with here, those of us who have heard anything about the Greek debt crisis, know that the Greeks have been utterly feckless. They had debt-fueled public spending, which has gotten them into this position. They're work shy, they dodge their taxes, and it's all their fault. And he actually makes a pretty persuasive argument that that's an easy narrative, but not necessarily a true one. Because what happened to Greece and to the other southern European countries to a lesser extent can't be separated from the things that France and Germany did.
Sure.
And it suited France and Germany to have these relatively profligate economies racking up debt because France and Germany could sell them a lot of things. They provided the vitality within the European Union at their own cost. And now that they're being bailed out by Germany and having an austerity program, which is really quite a terrifying series of measures and strictures forced on them, is this necessarily all Greece's fault? Yeah,
and would it be fair to say that it's actually only a few politicians, some bankers and a few rich people who want Greece to stay in the Eurozone and to not default, whereas the bulk of the people would just really want out now?
Yeah, and there's including amongst Giovanni, there are a lot of people, the German press is increasingly leaning towards that. So is the Greek press, that basically the Greece should renounce the euro, get out of the EU, and that would solve quite a few of the problems because it could actually devalue and compete on its currency. Yeah, and that would actually get it out of its hole a lot quicker. There are a lot of practical problems with doing that, an astonishing number of practical problems. The transition back to the drachma would be expensive and it would take time, and it's not clear whether Greece actually has that time. So it's a horrible situation. It is astonishing, and also, I was doing the reading yesterday, and it is quite astonishing quite how long Greece has been this badly run. It's been desperately let down by its governing and business classes. It's a shambles.
And is there a lesson for us there for our future as well, being a minor sort of partner down here? And there's this talk of one currency between Australia and New Zealand. And sure, the Eurozone's bigger and it's got a whole lot more complicated situations because of heaps of countries. But being the kind of the lesser economic partner in that relationship doesn't really look very good, does it?
Yeah, I don't really know enough to comment specifically on that. It wouldn't be such an issue if we were to do that with Australia, because we run broadly similar fiscal policies. And this has been the problem within Europe, is that some countries have been racking up loads of public debt and spending a lot of money that they don't have. And this is always going to be the problem within the euro. And a lot of right-wingers are now saying, told you so, and being agreed with by Marxists. But I still think the inability for us in Australia to run independent fiscal policies would be the game breaker.
Right.
I actually don't think it'll happen because there's not really too much problem with moving between our two currencies anyway.
Yeah.
And the fact that our dollar is worth slightly less than the Australian dollar gives us a competitive advantage in exporting.
True.
And do we want to give that up? Probably not.
No, not at this stage. Russell Brown, we look forward to the Media 7 show on Thursday evening just after 9 o'clock news. Thanks for that.
Cheers.
Cheers. And publicaddress.net as well. It's now